The first Malibu-style boards that the Australians ever saw. Up to that time, they were riding these long, hollow coupe boxes. Tommy Zahn, Bobby Moore, Tim Gard, myself, and Mike Bright took boards down there. I think this was okay, and the surf's actually kind of crappy, but I mean, they'd never seen anything like this. They'd never seen a guy take off on a wave, make a little turn, straighten out, ride soup, you know, and have some board control. Just blew them away completely. And Ampol Oil shot these pictures, and then they showed them around the different clubs in Australia, and they just went berserk, you know. Here they are with their, their little hollow board they were riding up to that time. They were these hollow coupe boxes, and they weren't worth a shit. Those were the good guys there for a while. Yeah, that's Australia's like their best surfer. So we left our boards down there, and as a result of that, you know, the rest is history. The surf Australians went on to really be, well, that was just about it. There was Selby and Hap had their place in Venice, and Obi was in Dana Point, and as you can see here, I was working out of my garage, and in the early Balsa days, that was about it. That was like a big deal to get involved with it, wasn't it? Well, that's where I had an edge. See, I was living close to General Veneer, which was the source of balsa wood, and what I could do is beat just about anybody over there and scoop up all the light wood I could get my hands on, and you know, kind of get as much of that as I could. I had a little bit of an edge there. Light wood being the more preferable wood for a board. You know, a lot of people don't realize that we were really weight conscious even back then. We were gluing it up earlier, and now you're putting the plank shape on it. Right. This is kind of I mean, if you look closely at the template here, you can see this is the early day Malibu board, which was influenced by Joe Quigg and Matt Kevlin and Dave Rothman. And this is the routing machine you invented, as I recall, that like cut the bottom rocker out, right? Bottom and deck. Obi had the first one, and the machine we just saw was actually the second machine in existence. And it was mostly all handwork except for that, right? Right. What it did is it brought the blank more like, you know, a foam blank looks like today. There was still all the shaping and the rails and everything involved in it. You guys did the whole work then, right? Glassing, shaping, everything, from start to finish.
As these surfers rode more and more of the North Shore's fantastic waves, the biggest wave of all still eluded them. The spot, Waimea Bay, which began to break when the rest of the North Shore was too big to surf. But Waimea Bay was riddled with taboos and fears, as surfers of the 50s were haunted by the memory of Dickie Cross, a young California surfer who in December of 1943 became trapped by a fast-rising storm swell while surfing Sunset Beach. Unable to reach the shore, he and fellow surfer Woody Brown elected to paddle 3 miles south to the safer, deep-water Waimea Bay. But 50-foot waves were closing out the bay, and while attempting to reach the shore, both were caught by mountains of whitewater and ripped from their boards. Brown eventually washed up on shore naked, while 17-year-old Cross was never seen again.
I mean, it spooked everybody. They were like, "You can't ride there. It's a killer. You know, we're not going to go out there. You're going to die."
Along with the death of Dickie Cross, Waimea's reputation was steeped in superstition and dread, with tales that ranged from haunted houses on the point to human sacrifices at the Hale or Hawaiian burial ground overlooking the bay.
All of these things were whizzing around this place like a bunch of ghouls, and people really believed that if you paddled out there was going to be this goddamn vortex. It'd be like flushing a toilet, and there go the howlies for the season.
People thought you couldn't ride Waimea Bay. They watched it, they looked at it, and they said, "Can't be done."
You know, you'd look at Waimea and you'd wonder, can the human body survive the wipeout?
The lure of riding Waimea was unrelenting, as during each big swell, surfers would find themselves standing spellbound on the shore, transfixed by the sight of these huge, perfectly shaped waves exploding off the point.
We go by there when it's breaking and you're going, geez, that looks like a rideable wave.
You could see that this had all the potential of being a great surf spot. And at some point, you just had to go, to hell with it. We can do this thing.
On a fall day in October of 1957, a handful of surfers converged on Waimea as a 20-foot swell began lighting up the bay. Sitting on the point watching the huge empty waves with his buddy Mike Stang, 19-year-old Greg Noll had finally seen enough. He unstrapped his board and with Mike Stang in tow, walked down to the water's edge. Moments later, they were joined by fellow surfers Pat Curran, Mickey Munoz, Del Cannon, Fred Van Dyke, Harry Church, Bing Copeland, and Bob Burmell, who together with Noll and Stang, paddled out to attempt the impossible.
It was obvious where the waves were breaking, and we'd all had enough experience so that, you know, you knew pretty much where to paddle to.
I remember paddling into the lineup, you know, and your balls were just in your stomach, you know, thinking that the bottom was going to fall out and someone was going to eat you alive.
I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to get wiped out because I know there's sharks here, and I'm not into swimming with sharks exactly.
We got out there with a big surprise. It's not an easy take-up.
I took off on a wave and went down the side and popped out the other end and went, shit, I'm still alive, nothing's happened.
After we got a couple of waves, you know, that kind of took, you know, the, hey, we can do this, you know.
They broke the taboo. They went out and did it. And once it was done, opened up the floodgates. It's like, okay, now how